not able to get on.
Okay.
So, Kim and I met on our trip to Mexico,
We
and
had some fun.
we had so much fun, and it was really cool because I'll let Kim tell you her story, but I had no idea who Kim was, and I don't even think I talked to her until the second day. And because she's so like the most humble person I've ever met. She just kind of sits back, and she wasn't like, hey, I'm Kim and here's my rank. And so we were talking, and I'm like, well, what are you? And she's like, well, I'm a presidential. And I'm like, what? Because a lot of people would be, very like full of themselves, and Kim was so down to earth. And so I joked with her later, and I go, well, you remember how you introduced yourself to me? You said, hi, I'm Kim, the presidential. And she's like, I would never say that. And I was like, I know, because she's so humble. So I just really loved her story and wanted her to share with you girls. So Kim, I have a list of questions, and if you don't mind, just kind of telling us a little overview of why you joined the business, and then I'll just let you know some questions that my girls were wondering, and anything else you feel like is important.
Sure. Okay. So I don't even know if you and I got a chance to discuss this because, like you said, I am super. And it's funny because Sam's on here, and Sam and I met last night, and we had some drinks. Well, she didn't because she's pregnant, but I did. And we were talking, and I wouldn't say I'm an introvert, but I keep to myself. I keep to my family. My husband and I have been together since we were 16, 17 years old. So like we have our little circle, and that's kind of like my thing. But he actually is like shocked at how much I've come out of my own shell from this business. And so that's one thing aside from the money, which guys is flipping fantastic, but to kind of like discover your own self and to take yourself out of your own comfort zone. And like, this is huge even for me to just be, addressing new people. Going to Mexico was huge for me. But I actually found this business in the middle of the night. I was up on Instagram. My son Julian doesn't sleep through the night, and I was up, and I had never ever heard of the wraps. This was my 2-year anniversary was in September 1st, and something came up, and it was a post about the wraps, and it was results, and it was on Instagram. I clicked on it. I'm that person that would buy any diet gimmick. I would buy every fix, every treadmill, every climber and Pilates machine. And my husband wants to kill me for it, but that's me. So I said, all right, what is this wrap thing? So I bought it, and I bought that in the greens. And within like 2 days of using the greens, I'm like, this is a Christmas blanket. I'm like, I feel a complete difference in my body. So the girl that I bought from, she was just a random girl from Texas, which is where you guys are from, which is how I ended up on your downline. And I saw her posting about how much money she was making. And now I have 2 best friends who are in MLM companies. One is super high up with Isagenix, and one is super high up with Jamberry. And as you can see, I don't even paint my fingernails. So Jamberry was out for me. And I don't believe in drinking my meals. So like they had tried and tried and tried to get me to join. And I'm like, these are just not things I believe in. But when I tried the greens and I felt the difference in my body, I'm like, oh my God, maybe. And I said to my husband, I'm like, maybe this could be something I could do. And he's like, Kim, you're really quiet. I don't know if this is something, that's for you. I'm like, maybe if I just go to the social media outlet, maybe I could do this. So what I don't think you and I discussed, Courtney, was that we had the fall before I joined, we had suffered massively from Hurricane Sandy. We had a tree come through our home. We lost everything that we had ever owned in our backyard, which was just the mild part of it. My husband's business is on a barrier island. So we lost his entire business. And when you're on a barrier island, you get no aid from insurance because you're built technically where you shouldn't be. So we were broke. And when I say broke, I mean, we lost it all. Like I had no income coming in, and he was our source of income, and it was gone. So I said to him, I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I literally negatived my checking account to join this business. We were in the negative, and I just had this weird gut feeling like this business was going to change my life. Like it wasn't Isagenix, and it wasn't Jamber. I never had that feeling. But with It Works, I had this weird feeling. And I came into this business with zero support from any source of warm market. My family was so against this business, all my friends, everybody. So I knew that I had to take to social media, and that was it. That was my outlet, and I had to go for it. And I just went all in. Like, I just decided to go with every gut instinct I had and go all in. And that was kind of it for me. Like, I went executive really fast, and then I went Ruby within my first month, and then I went Diamond. I had a little rut. This. I tell everybody this. I had a rut at Ruby. I kind of sat there for a little bit, and I have my upline is in Texas, which is where you guys are from, and not that I don't have a relationship with her, but it's not as easy as if I was with somebody who's near me. So I finally reached out to her after a couple weeks sitting at Ruby, or actually it was like 2 months, and I'm like, I went all in, and now I'm kind of stuck. So she said to me, do me a favor and just take 30 days and just focus solely on the wraps. And I did that. And every post I made was just solely about the wraps. It was, whether it was before and after, it was my personal experience with the wraps. And I went from Ruby to Emerald to Diamond within a couple weeks. And then I went double Diamond my next month after that. And then triple, as you know, girl.
I did not know that. I did not know the hurricane story. I'm writing this down, and I didn't know that you did that for 30 days. You focused on just the wraps.
Just the wraps. I gave up everything else. Even though greens is like my personal, like my go-to product, she said to me, just quit everything else, because the wraps is the go-to. It's the flagship. Just go ahead and do it for 30 days. So I tell all my girls that if they're stuck in a rut, just stick to the wraps and just go a full 30 days. And it changed my business. It really did.
Wow.
And so that was that.
So then you went triple.
I went triple on my 1 year anniversary. That was like really close to my face.
Okay.
It was literally on my 1 year anniversary. I went triple. And then I went Prez 4 months after that. So on my 17th, because it was 12 months. 5 months. I went Prez 5 months after that. So on my 17th month, I hit Prez.
Okay. Wow. It just gives me goosebumps because I don't, obviously I got to know you just a little bit, but I do know one thing is that she was shy. Like literally once I got to know her and we had drinks together, I'd scream at her from across the whole resort. But at the very beginning, I didn't even realize she was who she was. She had on an It Works hat her mom had made. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have known, because she is the epitome of shy. I don't even know if you'd call it shy, because you're not shy, but just you're not all up in your face, like maybe like I am.
I'm a very keep to myself kind of person.
Yes, and so whenever she's like, well, I'm presidential, and not that it shocked me in a rude way, but just I was like, you haven't even really said anything. And I thought, wow, she's so humble. She's just so different than what I had met. And so it was so cool. It just gives me goosebumps to hear how fast you went. And I love that tip. I'm going to try that. Like, for real, I'm going to try that because I'm pushing for triple. So
I know you got it.
That's a great tip. Okay, I'm going to fire some questions off at you if that's okay, that my girls were wondering. And some of them you may have answered. Well, so you built your business on social media. Did you just use Facebook, or did you use Instagram, or both?
I use both Instagram and Facebook. I would say I have more success from Facebook than I do from Instagram. Instagram, I get a lot of dead ends. But I always tell my girls, I don't ever give up on that. Like I still have, and here's why, because, like as much as I love Kara, and I don't want to say like she has an easy thing, but like I'm a presidential leg. I'm a stranger to her, and I popped up out of Instagram. So that's why I always tell people, don't ever, ever count anybody out. Like you never know. You can enroll somebody and you're like, yeah, she lives, however many states away. Like I'm across the country from Kara, and I'm a presidential leg for her. So that's something you should never, ever, ever count anybody out. Like I told this to Sam last night, like you never, ever know what someone's capable of. Like I would have never in my life imagined that I would have been a presidential diamond. I remember when Kara told me what the diamond bonus was, which was $20,000 when I had started. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And we were actually on a vacation in Puerto Rico, and my husband and my brother-in-law, everyone, they were literally laughing at me. I was on the deck and I'm like, guys, I feel like I can do this. And they're like, you're never going to pull this off. Like it's never going to happen. But I just felt like I could do it. Like I had this weird inner, like, I don't want to say strength and sound corny, but that's what I had. Like I just had this gut feeling that this business could change our lives, and it did.
That's funny that you say that because you can see my office. It has a lime green wall.
I see it.
And so when I started, my husband wasn't negative, but he wasn't like, oh yeah, let's do this. He was like, you did what? And I was like, give me a month. Like, just leave me alone. Give me a month. And then a few days later, I'm like, guess what? You're a distributor too. And he's like, what? And I'm like, just leave me alone. And so mine was, my husband's like, well, if you ever go diamond, because I said, I want to paint my office. I just want this room to be green. And he goes, okay, honey, well, if you ever even go diamond, I'll consider it. And I remember thinking, even to myself, like, well, it would probably be stupid to paint my office. It'll probably never happen. And then, you know, a few months later, he's like, well, I guess I'm going to Home Depot. And I was like, yes, you are. And it's just weird. I felt the same way as you, like just that gut feeling of this is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, so one of the questions someone asked is what keeps you going during the slow periods? And I guess for me too, I want to know, Kim, like, because we all have seasons in our business. And so if you could think of your worst month, what did you do to keep yourself going?
My worst month was last month. And I think, I like, I don't want to say the company as a whole, but I think a lot of people had a rough last month. And for me, I don't like, I just like, I don't know, you know, if like everyone's aware of like people coming and going, and I hate to even bring up that stuff, but like, even when my girls were reaching out to me and they were like, you know, there's a lot of uproar and I feel like business has dropped, I just still had that weird gut feeling that it was going to come back. And like, I talked to Kim Touchton, who is, you know, like there's certain people who, not that I don't want to say I don't look up to, but there's certain people that I feel are absolutely genuine. And she's someone that I feel is genuine. And she said to me, Kim, let me ask you a question. How long have you been in this business? And she almost guessed to the day. She was like, let me guess, you're on your 2 year and something month. And I'm like, how did you know that? And she's like, because you're new to the waves. Like this is common in every business. And until she said it, it almost didn't hit me. And she makes so much sense. Like my husband owns a store. I own a kid's store. And it makes so much sense. You can't always be on a high. Every business can't always be on a high. It's not even, I mean, unless you're, I don't even know. Like, and like, I'll go into Target and I'm like, you know what? If they're marking everything down on clearance, they can't always be on a high. So I guess every business and every season has a high and a low, and you have to just have the guts and the heart to stick with it. So I had a feeling that October was going to be different, and October has already turned around. Like I've already had my team and myself enrolling more people than we did in the past couple months, and I just feel like if you get yourself defeated, then you're going to be defeated. But if you put yourself in a mindset where you can change your own personal business and turn it back around, then that's all it takes. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's absolute consistency. It's working your business every day. And I don't know if you guys do parties or if you guys work solely social media.
A lot of social media.
A lot of social media. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the only way. That's honest to God, the only way I built my business. And there's one tip that I tell my girls and I do for myself. Every time I log on to Facebook or Instagram, I do not allow myself to post anything or like anything until I've commented on 5 people's pictures. That's like my rule. That's how I build my relationship. So every time, like, you know, I'm that bad person that's at the red light that's like, oh, let me check my Instagram. But even before I check those cute little hearts that are there, I won't do it until I comment on 5 people's. And that's how I've built so many relationships on Facebook. And I knock everybody out. Like if you're in my Facebook feed and you're not going to benefit my business, you're out. My mom's out. I mean, everybody's out. Like you're out, because I feel like it's like,
you just like unfollow them.
I unfollow. There are people that I will unfriend, but most people I completely unfollow. I also unfollow every single It Works person.
Yeah.
Only because, there's such a limited space. I tell my girls, I'm like, it's like an allotment. Like you have a bank, and every time like you're like drawing your bank smaller and smaller. So, and not that I don't love everybody, and I would love to, absolutely see people's stuff all day. I use Facebook and Instagram solely for business. It's not about, my friends anymore or anything like that. It's about my business. And because I had no warm market and I needed to dive into finding new people, I had to go that route. So for me, when I pull up my feed, it's honest to God, like people I don't even know anymore. But it's about me getting to know those people and making sure that I'm building relationships. I have a notebook, and anybody that I add new, I try and add 5 new friends every time I log into Facebook. And I'll only add people that I'm mutual friends with 2 or more. Sorry, my cat's outside. I'm like, what you doing, girl? Lola. That I'm mutual friends with 2 or more. And I make sure that no other distributors are friends with that person. And I'll write their name in my log. And then for the next 2 weeks, and I'm super, as I think you can attest for, Courtney, I'm like super lax, like super laid back. I won't even pursue an It Works conversation for at least 2 weeks. So it'll be just, me like commenting and liking on their stuff. I try and make sure, like I said, to comment before liking.
Have you always been like that? And I'm asking because I've gone through different seasons in my business. Like when I first joined, I was like you. I had only 200 friends on Facebook, and I was like in a real bad situation, and I needed this. So I asked everyone I had ever known and every stranger. And then I got to where I didn't cold message anymore. And I don't know, like I'm kind of torn because I know it got me where I was at, but I also know that a lot of those people, if you want to be real frank, they left me because I didn't have a relationship with them, because when they got frustrated or times got hard, we didn't have that relationship to us through those hard times. So do you ever cold message?
I don't. I just feel like, and I've gotten them from diamonds within It Works, and I'm like, did you even look at my profile before you messaged me, which drives me insane. I don't know. For me, I just feel like, and I'm that kind of person, but I mean, listen, everybody's different. So
right.
there are ambassadors who cold message all day and it works for them. But for me personally, I'm just more comfortable with taking it slow and building somewhat of a relationship. And I mean, I've made some amazing friends out of this, and I've gotten people that I would have never thought would have joined the team, that have joined after I've slowly made some sort of a relationship with them, because it just comes across more genuine than just, like, hey, I do this business, I make money, come join me.
Right.
So for me, but I always tell everybody, I'm like, listen, what works for you might not work for me, and what works for me might not work for you.
Right.
So you kind of have to find what's comfortable for you.
Well, I think that's great. That's a great advice, though, because, there are some girls on my team that have very similar personalities with you. And so if they're sending a cold message, it's just, I'm the type of person that's at a party that's going to be like, hey, what's your name? Where are you, and a lot of my other girls are more, I'm going to sit back and watch for a little bit. And so I think you have to do what matches your personality. Absolutely. I'm going to look at some of my questions. Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got that one. Where else do you work?
I own a kids store, a little kids boutique.
Oh my God, I didn't know that either.
I know, it's okay. I'm so quiet. I'm like a stranger in the corner. My husband and I started dating in high school, and he's had his store now for 14 years. So however many years ago is that? He opened a store in a town called Lavallette, which is on the island, which is like the Jersey Shore. We're those people. We're not near the dirty boardwalk, though. We're in a nice little beach town. But so he opened a store, and then after Sandy happened, Hurricane Sandy, the lady who owned a store 2 doors down, she unfortunately couldn't recover after the storm, and it was the perfect, ideal, tiny little store, and I've always wanted a kid's store, so I opened that right after Sandy. So we just had my 3rd summer there, so that's the other thing I do.
Wow, are you busy with that?
Only during the summer. I'm only open from May until this will probably be my last weekend, and then I close for the winter.
Okay.
Tyler stays open all year, but I can't do the slow business, so
yeah. Okay, awesome. What is your best approach when posting and messaging I mean, how do you post? Like, what do you think of every day whenever you wake up? How do you plan what you're going to post?
Okay, so if you were to look at my Instagram, I always have, like, if I wake up in the morning, I try and do something that is funny or motivational. But I do 2 pictures, and then my third picture is always a white background with a quote, and it's either a motivational quote or a funny quote. So during the day, it will look like 2 side pictures, and my middle line is white, and it always has a black and white either quote. So my Instagram kind of looks like really clean at all times. And I try and go back and forth. I don't ever try and post it works back to back. And if I do, I make sure that it's something that is either me using the product or I try not to do too many before and afters. I'll do a couple, but not all the time. And if I do, I actually erase them within a couple hours because as I'm adding people, I don't want them to go to my page and see it works before and afters. Let's see what else. I'm trying to think what else
I'm gonna go look at your Insta after we get off of here.
Yeah. So for me, and it's funny, I always tell my girls, I'm like, listen, if you can't afford the auto ship, and you know when they're starting, auto ship is always a tricky situation. I always say, at least pick one product, and here's why. I had products sitting on my shelf for months. I mean, in the beginning, you know, I was amazing with them, and then as you grow, you kind of get, you know, lazy, and you don't use them every single day. And I put on a lot of weight. I mean, I put on at least 30 pounds over the past year. So I guess it was 3 months ago now, I walked past, this is no joke, true story. I walked from my store to Tyler's store, and I didn't mention this. So there's my store, and then there's a bagel store, and then there's Tyler's store, my husband's store. And I walked past the bagel store window, and I got a glimpse. I'm like, oh my God, I put on a lot of weight. So I went hardcore with greens, the cleanse, and the probiotic 3 months ago. And so far, altogether, I've dropped 18 and a half pounds.
That's crazy.
So as I have been consistent with posting my weight, like I put my number on my hand. I won't put the number on the scale because God Lord, if people saw my weight, but like I'll put the pounds that I've dropped on my hand and put that up. Since I did that, I've enrolled 28 loyal customers. And yeah, and it's just from me being a product of the product. And,
wow.
and like I've always preached be a product of the product. You know, guys, you have to. But I was never personally doing it myself, like consistently. And since I've done that, my business has skyrocketed even in our slow months. So that's something I always try and stress. Like it is, even if you can only afford one product, pick one product. And like I have girls on my team that are like pregnant or, you know, can't use certain products. Pick one product that you can use. If you don't need to lose weight, because, you know, like you saw Kim on vacation, she doesn't need to. But like pick something. Pick a hair, skin, and nails. Pick something because there's something for everybody. And everything that we have is so affordable. So I just feel like if you're a complete product of the product and you work your business on Instagram or Facebook using your personal testimonies as opposed to you know, other people's, like I can't always use my stuff, but I try and use it as much as I can. And as much as it took me out of my comfort zone, it changed my business. Like to be able to say, yes, I was overweight and yes, I needed to lose the weight, but these products have helped me have, oh my God, changed my business. And like, I allow my girls to use my pictures and it's helped them as well. Because it's a personal story. It's not just someone that, you know, that is someone from someone, if someone is a downline somewhere on, you know, our team.
Right. That's great advice. I couldn't agree more. Like when you have your own testimony, even if it's hair, skin, and nails.
Yeah.
Like when it's just they can connect with you. I'm trying to look. What is your best advice that you've ever gotten for your business?
It's actually from my husband, who has been against this business from the go. But until I took his advice, which, you know, you have only gotten like, you know, to know me a little bit, but I think you can kind of sense my personality. I take a lot of things to heart. And for a while I was defeated. I was like, you know, no one's liking my posts. No one's answering me. No one's buying my stuff. You know, people are commenting like, oh, you're joining, you're another one that's doing this. Oh my God, you're going to blow up my newsfeed with this stuff too. So, and it's funny because every time I go to a one team, one mission, I'm always the last person to go on stage. When you're presidential, you're last. And I'm always like, oh my God, all the good tips are gone. Oh my God, what do I say? And then finally I'm like, my husband's head a voice comes into my head and I'm like, you know what he said has benefited my business the most. And it was the second that you stop caring what everybody thinks about you is the moment your business will change. And it's 100% true. I was so skeptical and so scared to post consistently in the beginning. Like I would do a post and then I'd be like, oh my God, people are looking at my post and they're thinking I'm annoying. And I still have girls to this day, they're like, I don't want to be annoying. I'm like, you have to be annoying in this business. And like your annoyingness is going to change somebody's body. It's going to change somebody's financial outcome. It's going to change somebody's life. So as much as you think you're being annoying, there's that one person out there that needs you to be annoying. Because if you are shy and humble and sit back and don't speak out, that one person that could change your business is not going to join you, or is not gonna enroll as a loyal and then love our customers and then join your team and completely change your business.
That's a great advice.
For me, it's completely, my husband always says, ignore the static and just focus on yourself. Like as soon as you let go of people's opinions, it'll change your business.
That's a great advice. What have you ever felt like you're giving your all, doing everything, or have you ever felt like one of your girls is in this situation? Like they're doing everything. They're posting, they're messaging, they're planting seeds, and another month comes and goes, and another month comes and goes, and they're just not harvesting. What do you do?
I do. And I have two amazing girls who have been in, I would say, for about a year now, and they're in that position. They both hit Ruby, and then they kind of just got stuck. And I mean, they are consistent. They post. I can't say there's anything that they don't do. And this is the one part that I kind of get like frustrated. And I was talking with another Triple Diamond today. And I'm like, I don't get it. Why is it that some people can be so successful and some people who work so hard can't? I honestly don't have an answer. I mean, I just try and pour into them as much as I can. And it's funny because for conference last year, I let like 18 girls stay in my room. And for this year, I let just those two girls. I'm like, listen, they have earned this. They have worked so hard. And I want them to have as much like positive experiences as they can. So they're my roommates for conference. I would just say stay consistent. And like I said, that 30-day thing worked for me. I picked the wraps, and I only focused on that, which, and I'm going to be 100% honest, I've never, ever had results with wraps. And I only tell certain people this, but for me and my body type, it just doesn't seem to work. But when I focused on that, I did have to use other people's before and afters.
Right.
For me, for 30 days, it just brought a whole new life back into my business. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was, I was spreading too thin with, we have so many amazing products. So when I went back to just focusing on one product, that changed it. So maybe that's something that you could tell them, focus on one product for 30 days. Don't oversell it, but just, even if it's just them, one post a day with their wrap on. And like I've had people that have been like, do you wrap when you're running errands? So like I'll put a picture of half of my belly, because I won't show my whole belly, but half my belly, and be like, yeah, I'm like, I'm running errands with the wrap on. Like people don't realize that it's not something that you need to be tied to your home to.
Right.
So even if like, I don't know if it's just pick one product and focus on it for 30 days.
I like that tip though. I think that's great. I think that's great and something easy to do. So like if you were talking to a stranger, and how often does this happen? Do you bring up the business?
Well, here's me. It's funny because I was on a Panera kick for like 6 months. Like every day I was getting Panera. That's probably how I got so fat, because eating the bread every day. And there was this girl who worked at the window, Ayana, and I'll never forget it. She was like amazing. And every day I would be like, okay, I'm going to talk to her today. I'm going to talk to her today. And then I'd be like, oh no, can't talk to her today. Because I'm like super shy. So, I mean, there's people who can approach people on go, which is amazing. I just don't have that personality. So for me, it took a little bit of a time. So I started to pay with my It Works commission card, which I always recommend people to get. Whether you're putting your full paycheck on there or not, just to put a little bit on it. Anywhere you go with, and I always say where there's females working, like if I go to Forever 21 and I pay with that card. And they're like, oh my God, what is this? I'm like, oh, it's my commission card. I work for It Works. Have you heard of it? And I'll go into it with that. But that's how I got into the conversation with Ayana. I'm like, she looked at the card and she was like, oh my God, I just got a Blitz card from somebody else. Well, she didn't say Blitz card. She's like, I got a card from someone else, a coupon card. I'm like, oh my God, someone beat me to it. So she had gone to a wrap party. Unfortunately, she felt super pressured at the wrap party. And she was like, do you mind if we sit down one day and talk? And she actually ended up enrolling. I mean, this was 6 months after I was heavy into the bread with Panera.
That's crazy.
So yeah. So for me, I'm kind of like the quiet sit back person that does it slowly. If I go to dinner, I do put a Blitz card with my check every time I pay. I'm not the person that says anything though. I kind of will just leave my Blitz card. I do have the It Works thing on the back of my car, and I have gotten some contacts from that. But I mean, if you're someone who has a go get it personality, then I would say absolutely go get it. But there's people like me who it takes a couple times to, approach somebody. I've talked to a couple people, like when I've checked out, when I have an It Works shirt on, which I always suggest as well, keeping that on. But yeah, I'm the exception because I'm quiet.
No, but that's great. I mean, but look at you. Look at what you've done. That's awesome. How do you build up your Instagram followers?
I try and follow at least 5 to 10 people every time I log into Instagram. So anytime I go to Instagram, my rule is I comment on the 5 people. That's always, 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 always my rule. And then I will go to right now I'm trying to find markets that we don't have yet. So like we just went to Mexico. So as soon as we got back, apparently rumor is we're going to open in Mexico within the next year. So I researched boutiques in Mexico, and I would go to those boutiques, and then I would follow those followers. And I do keep mine on private, and then I alternate between private and not private. And the days when I'm sending, oh my God, you scared me. Say hi. Hi. That's Logan.
Hi, Logan.
Good night, my love. I love you. The times when I'm sending out my follows, I try not to have anything It Works within my first 3 pictures, because I don't want people to be like, oh my God, she's just trying to be my friend. I also don't have anything It Works in my bio on Instagram.
That's awesome. I'm looking at it right now. That's awesome. Okay, hold on. Now I have to get back to my questions. It's just awesome because you've done it so different than me, and so it's so good to hear your tips. Well,
that's what I love about this business. Like, there's so many people I wish I had your outgoing personality, but I don't. So for me, I kind of had to do things from the backside. I had to build from social media where you are approachable and you are more outgoing than me, so you could do things from face to face. That's what I love about this business, is that everybody can build so differently.
Yes, and I love that too, and I think it's so good for a lot of my girls to hear that you don't have to be one type of person, Yeah. Have you ever had anyone on your team quit or put down their business and want to come back?
Yes. Oh my God, Lord. Sam's actually on here. Sam enrolled, left, and then she actually just came back. So she's an example. But yes, I mean, I've had diamonds quit on me. I mean, it's going to happen. And I always tell everybody, you can't help what happens in this business. There's going to be days when you have amazing highs, and there's going to be days when you have crazy lows. And if you let those lows defeat you, then they're going to defeat you. But if you say, I am going to make it. I always tell my girls, I'm like, pretend that you're an ambassador. If you're pretending that you're an ambassador every day, I mean, listen, I'm still trying to get to ambassador, but I have in my head every morning when I get up, and I have that ugly, obnoxious ambassador, scary chart in front of my face. It's on my kitchen cabinet and it's on my bathroom mirror. But I tell my girls, I'm like, have it in your face, because if it's defeating you, you're going to want to beat it. And if you're filling it in, you're like, oh my God, I am going to do this. So for me, it's like an in-your-face kind of thing. But yeah, I've had girls quit. I've had diamond legs quit. My husband's leg, I call it the bad luck leg. No matter what, I've built my husband to diamond 3 different times. 3 different times. And I mean fully, full 25, full 25 and full 25. He is the bad luck leg, so I kind of gave up on that. So he will not be on my triple chart, but on my ambassador chart. But people will quit. And I just feel like they didn't have the vision. They don't have the heart that you have. And if they did, they're going to see your success and they're going to come back.
And so what do you tell them? Like, what did you tell Sam? Not to put Sam on the spot, but what do you tell someone like that whenever, because I have some girls now, because will be my year anniversary, the 28th of October. Yeah. And I have some girls that have put it down and now they're coming back and they're like, I see what you're doing. And I get it, because even for me, I sit there and think, wow, I'm still posting and it's been a year. I'm still here, and so I get that some girls will do that. What do you tell them? Is there any magic, or are you just like, come on, let's just start going again?
I don't think there's any magic to this business. And I think that's where people make the mistake. I think they enroll and think that this is going to be like okay, I can just sit on my phone and make $1 million and quit my job. It's still a job. Like, it's still work. You're still going to be working consistently. And if you are a consistent person, then you can make this work. Sam and I met last night, and Sam and I think are very similar. We both discussed, we're very, like quiet, setback people. I think the biggest obstacle for this business is stepping out of your comfort zone. It's not easy, but it's what will change your business. And like, you're a double diamond in a year. That's like huge. I hate that people think that they can enroll and, like, there's people who have been fighting to be, double diamonds for 4 years. Like, it's a big thing. I mean, I always say, like, hard work pays off. If you're consistent and you're really, really working, and you have to give it 100%. Your first couple years, you have to give it 100%. It's not something that you could put in 20% in one day and 16% the next. You have to be consistent, especially your first couple months. You can't build a business. It's like opening a McDonald's and, putting in 100% of your business for like 6 months and be like, yeah, I'm not going to show up to work today, and hopefully, the business will run itself. It's not going to do that. This is a full-fledged business, and the privileges that we get to do it for just $99, and then your auto shipment each month. Like, that's huge. And I know that because I own a retail store. I have to pay my employees. I have to pay the rent. I have to pay the insurance. I have to pay the electric. I have to pay the gas.
Yeah.
Like, I know what it's like to do it on an outside business. And then I look at this It Works business, and I make so much more money with my It Works business than I do with my kids' store. So it's become kind of my hobby, but I know what it's like to have an actual business, and we have it so amazingly good and so easy. Like, you just have to have the heart behind it. If you have the heart, oh my God, it will take you so far in this business.
Do you feel like, and I guess I'm speaking more from my own heart than maybe anyone else's questions or experience, but do you feel like, and I feel like about a month or two ago, I got on the other side of the wave, like the self-doubt, and I'm not saying it doesn't ever creep in, but I felt like I was battling for so many months, like it'd be good and bad. And kind of like you said, once I accepted, it was probably this summer, whenever I was like, okay, there's good and bad months. And once I accepted that, I feel like it changed my business. Like, it changed my mind. Do you feel like there was a point where you were finally like, okay, there are going to be some good times, there are going to be some bad times, but no matter what, I'm going to keep going?
Yes. And that was when I had hit that rut at Ruby, and I decided to commit to the 30 days, and I wouldn't go back after that. I'm like, you know what? That's it. Why are you doubting this? Why are you, like, you had that feeling from the beginning. Everybody in this business, I feel like, you either have that feeling and you're going to go with it, or you're going to kind of be like, I'll work this business for a little bit. It's either in your core or it's not. That's truly how I feel. Like, if you have that feeling in your gut that you're going to make it work, then you're going to make it work. Whether it takes you 6 months, whether it takes you 6 years, this business will change your life. And if you're consistent with it, it will. So for me, that was my point. I was like, I'm either going to go all in or that's it. Like, get out. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're either in or you're out. Like, you're not going to tiddlywink with it. It's not, I don't even know how to describe what I'm trying to say, but like, it's a business. Like, you couldn't just one day be like at a full-fledged business, be like, yeah, I don't know if this is for me. Like, the doors would shut and that would be it. You'd be closed down.
You'd be done. Yeah.
you'd be dead. You'd be done. So if it's in your heart and it's in your soul, and I think like you and I both said, I had this weird gut feeling, and I don't get like that with anything, like nothing. Um, then it's for you. Like that's what I've always said. Like you have it or you don't have it. Like there's people who are like, I don't know, it's for me. I'm like, then it's not for you. Like I am not that person. And as shy as I am, I'm hardcore. I'm like, if that I don't have time for your negative texts all day. If this isn't for you, then this isn't for you. Like you're in or you're out. If you want this, oh my God, it's flipping amazing. Like Tyler and I, my husband and I, look at my checks and we're like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, are you kidding me that this money can be made from my phone? He doesn't help me, but from my phone.
Right.
I mean, like, and he's like, and I doubted you a year and a half ago. Like, I doubted that this, like, I mean, it's not even, I don't even, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely, and I'm not even at ambassador yet. So, like, when I get there, I'm going to poop my pants. I mean, it's just, it's nutty. Like, and that's why I try and express to everybody, like, put your full freaking heart in it, because when you do, everything will change. Forget the stupid people who think your posts are annoying. Get rid of them, unfollow, block them, do whatever you have to do. Change however you work your business. If you do parties and people are, negative about it, then change it. Work your social media, do whatever you have to do, because I'm telling you, I have girlfriends that, like I said, Isagenix, Advocare, and Jamberry, and they don't have like this passion that I have. Like they're like, it seems so different with your company. It's like a different breed of people. I feel like we honestly all want to help each other. Where in other companies, it's like, who can I step on to get to the next level?
Yes.
Yeah, right? It's like,
yes.
okay, you know what? So she's a potential. Well, I'm going to take her potential. Where I feel like with this company, we all have a different sense of integrity.
Yes.
And that's what I love about it. It's just so different.
That's crazy that you say that, because like every single person I met in Mexico, when I first started this business, I would have never been friends with anyone on Facebook that wasn't on my team. Right. Yeah. And now, like, I don't just friend anyone, but anyone we were in Mexico with, absolutely, I would be friends with them. And I would do this with them, because it is like, it gives me goosebumps, because like we pour into each other and we pay it forward. And I feel like that is so different even than corporate America. I mean, in corporate America, people at the end of the day are out for themselves, and there's nothing in this business. There's no way you can make it to the top in this business if you're only out for yourself. There's just no way. Absolutely. You have to look out for your girls. You have to look out for your sidelines. And I agree, we are a different breed. Like, for sure. Well, that's all the questions I have. I just appreciate you so much, and I am so excited. Oh, wait, you're not going on the cruise, but I will see you at conference.
I know. I can't leave my kitties that much.
You and Brett aren't going, but Kim is.
Kim is. So one thing I wanted to tell you guys that I do every single morning. So I used to wake up to my phone, and anyone who has any sort of team underneath them knows that, and I'm sure you know how this is, Courtney. You wake up to your phone, and it's consistently filled with someone didn't get a loyal in on time. It was just, like a consistent negative. So what I do is I refuse to answer my phone until I have my kids off to school and I am fully settled with my coffee. And if you don't have kids, I always suggest turn off your phone until you've had your coffee, until you have mentally prepared yourself for the day, because otherwise you're starting your day almost on almost always negative note. And I'm not saying that all team members are negative, but it's always like they're reaching out to you for a problem. And the other thing is I don't answer my team immediately. I absolutely refuse to, because I feel like if you do that, it's babying them from the beginning. So I make sure that if I'll open a text, I'll be like, oh my God, they can answer on their own. I almost don't answer them immediately. And if they reply again, then I'll be like, okay, here's what you got to do. You got to go to your eSuite. This is something you'll find on your own. Because that's something that I feel like leads to you mommying them. And then something I've also done on my team that has been very helpful has been teaming up buddies. I've had like someone who's been really successful team up with someone who's kind of struggling, and they work one-on-one. They become text buddies, they become Facebook buddies, someone who can, they can pour into each other. it kind of takes, you know, a little bit of the stress off you, and they kind of pour into each other. I'm trying to think what else I wrote down real quick for you guys. Let's see, what do I got here? Oh, I don't know if this is how you guys are, but in Jersey, girls are always like, how come no one's helping me? How come no one giving me a loyal or a distributor? And Courtney's laughing at me. But I can say, hand to God, I was never handed a loyal or a distributor. And you know why I'm super grateful for that? Zero. Thank you, Courtney.
Zero. I've
But
had
your paycheck reflects it. Like, there's so many people that don't understand that. You have a better paycheck when nobody gives you anything. It's so much better. As frustrating as it is, your paycheck will be rewarding for it.
Yes, and I tell my girls, like, take it if it's given to you. It's a blessing.
Yes.
But I definitely have had some, and think of one that's literally after one day in, she's like, so when are you going to help me? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a magic fairy with a plethora of distributors to place under people. And I will be the first to tell my girls too, Kim, that I make no decisions that aren't business decisions. I don't care if you're my husband, my sister, my mom, because those are all on my chart. I make no decisions that are not a business decision. I do not care. I don't even make them, honestly, like, oh, this girl's trying really hard. Like, I look at my chart and where's there a blank spot where I need to promote? I mean, I don't mean that rude, but it's a business. It's funny that you say that, because one girl was like, well, you're not going to help me? And I'm like, oh my God. Like, no, I will never help you now.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, I was never, and you know, if you have been given a loyal or a DT, there's nothing wrong with it. But no, plenty of people never have been. Like, I've never been placed under, ever. And I do think that made me a very strong person.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree with that 100%. And then another thing I wrote down was to celebrate every tiny victory. So for me, I always encourage my girls, and like, even if you made a $25 paycheck, like, that's something that you should be boasting about. Like, I feel like I get a lot of response from, like, I went to the lash bar today. My lashes. But even that, like, it's just like that. I, honest to God, could have never afforded to go and get lashes before this business. If you can only afford to fill your gas tank, but it works paid for it, oh my God, post about it. If you're paying for your groceries, post about it. It's the little things that people relate to more than a $10,000 bonus. You know, like, if that's not realistic to a lot of people. So I always tell people, and not even the $500 bonus, go for the little stuff. Like, people, like, there's people who are just having babies. If you need to pay for formula and diapers, that kind of stuff, It Works will help you. Whether you're making an extra $100 or $700, like, that's huge stuff for people. If you filled your gas tank, anything like that relates to people more than the huge bonuses that we have, which are flipping amazing, which I should add, by the way. Another thing I do is I turn off my phone at least a couple hours a day, because for me, too much it works makes my brain go crazy, and I need to have a balance between my personal life and my it works life, and for me that works best. So I turn my phone off for a couple hours. I wrote down unfollow all fellow distributors. That's something I went over. I always say to keep your presidential upline, your triple upline, your double upline, and your diamond upline, and also Pam, Mike, and Mark. Of course, always have them. And I think that's pretty much all that I kind of go over. I don't personally do Zooms every single week, and here's why. Because a lot of my team are completely full-time workers. Like Sam's on here, I'm looking at her right now. She works in Newark, which for us is probably, I would say, this poor girl commutes like 2 hours there and 2 hours back. And for me to ask her to commit to a Zoom, I just feel like I would rather her take that hour and pour it into finding new potentials, new customers, new whatever. So a lot of people ask me, like, do you do a lot of Zooms? And I don't. And like, that's why, like, when you did, I'm like, oh my God, I'll totally jump on for you guys. For my team, like, I'm just like, go get to work. And if there's something that like that's new, that comes up, a new product, a new promotion, then I'll absolutely do that. But so how many of your girls are going to conference?
So there are 5 of them that are going with me so far.
Oh, good. So is this your first conference?
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay,
yeah.
good.
Where are you staying?
The Marriott Waterside.
Okay. Barrymore or something. I don't
Oh,
even
yeah,
know.
I have 10 girls at the Barrymore,
Oh,
so I'll have them
cool.
find you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll be able to hear me.
I'll probably be over there with you, so don't worry.
Okay, good.
I'll bring the wine.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I just love you, and it was so fun getting to know you. I'm going to miss you on the cruise, but she's going. Where are you going with your family?
I'm going to Beaches, Jamaica.
That's right. That's right. So she's going on a different trip with her family, but you're still going to get to be at the beach. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see Kim, and I'm so excited to go to conference. And how many conferences have you been to?
I only went to one. I didn't go my first year because, like I've said, I'm super shy. And I was probably 4 months in, and Kara asked me, I'm like, I'm not going to that. So last year, I finally went to my first, and oh my God, we had so much fun, like ridiculous fun. It's going to be ridiculous. Like, we all have to meet somewhere and have drinks and get to meet each other face to face.
Is it going to be like Mexico?
I make it like Mexico. Some people don't make it like Mexico, but I roll like Mexico everywhere I go. So
yeah. Well, I'm excited, and I'm really excited because there's my girls that are going. Some of them, like one of them, is brand new. I think she's on here. She just joined like a couple of weeks ago, and so she's like brand spanking new, and she's like, I'm going. And then a couple other girls just joined the business, and so I'm just excited because I remember last year I had just signed up and the tickets were already sold out, and I was like, oh, y'all are cool, y'all are going to conference, and like that's how I felt in my head. And then I remember sitting at home and watching it on pay-per-view, and I had like a watch party, and I cried the whole time because I wasn't there, because I was
going to change. It's going to change your business and everyone on your team. Like, I was the same way. I'm like, I'm not into this corny stuff. Like, it's not going to change my business. Like, are you kidding me? And when Mark announced, oh my God, I can't even describe to you. First of all, I am not like even that kind of person that gets like emotional or weird, but the first night of praise and worship is heavy. I mean, heavy, emotional, heavy. And even if you don't want it to be heavy, and if you're not a religious person, it's heavy, amazing heavy. So that's the first night. And then the party night is just wild and crazy. But the last day at 5 p.m. when Mark announces whatever he's going to announce, the emotion that is let loose in that room is ridiculous.
It gives me goosebumps because I can't imagine.
My God, Courtney, you're going to poo-poo in your pants. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I remember like holding hands with people next to me. I'm like, I don't even know these people. I'm holding their hand. It's craziness. Everyone's screaming. There's confetti coming from the ceiling, and then everybody leaves on this amazing high, and then like all you see is thousands of people on their phones like getting to work. Like, just getting to work. I was at the bar getting to work, but everybody's getting to work.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Well, I can't wait to see you, and I hope you have a great trip to Jamaica, and thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
And I'll talk to you soon, girl.
Okay, love you.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye, guys.